So say you want the beach, but you have mobility challenges. Guess what? There are entire countries that have made their beaches remarkably accessible. And today, I'm sharing my top picks with you. If you're new here, hi, my name is Brooke. I am the owner of Outta Here Travel, where I specialize in accessible travel for all. I help people discover that travel is still possible, even with mobility challenges. Last week, if you watched that video, you might remember that I talked about accessible cities around the world. And I promised you that I would talk about beaches next. So today, I'm sticking to that promise. I'm talking about beaches! Today, we're exploring the countries that offer some of the best accessible beach experiences in the world, and I'll explain what makes each one stand out. Before I get into this, there are countries that commit to making most of their beaches accessible, and that's what I'm going through in the list. However, not to say that there are not individual beaches around the world that are also great. Here's my pro tip. As you're planning your trip, please do the research on which beaches meet your particular accessibility needs before you commit to one versus the other so you don't get disappointed. So here's my list. Number 1 in the list is Spain. Spain is really committed to accessible beaches, talking about places like Mallorca, Costa del Sol, Costa Blanca. There are lots of accessible beaches, accessible change rooms, accessible restrooms, shady spots where you can rest. So if you are in a wheelchair, you can just rest off to the side and not be in the blazing sun all the time if that's what you prefer. Many locations also have beach wheelchairs, and bonus, there are a lot of lifeguards that are also trained for accessibility. So that makes Spain a top destination for accessible beaches. Now, not to be overshadowed by Spain, the next one is really super awesome. Australia has a lot of commitment to accessibility, especially with regards to surfing. Australia, it's an island, right? So we have all around the various coastlines where you can have places like the Gold Coast, Sydney, Perth on the West Coast. So not only does Australia have accessibility in need with their beaches, like having sand wheelchairs, accessible beach pathways, but they even have surfing programs for people with disabilities. In fact, there is a Disabled Surfers Association of Australia that has Let's Go Surfing Days, and they will provide adaptive equipment to help out. Another thing that they have is surf therapy for people with mild to moderate disabilities. So if you have a little bit of a disability and you've always dreamed of doing some surfing, Australia is your best bet. Number 3, I gotta mention our own country. The US has a fair number of accessible beaches. We have regulations from the ADA that help steer the beaches and the communities toward accessibility. So that means that many beaches will have ADA boardwalks. So that means you don't have to try to get through the sand. Also accessible parking and restrooms. Talking about the obvious beach destinations like Florida, California, and Hawaii, but there are some other beaches on the East Coast especially that you may not have thought of, like maybe in Delaware and Virginia. So give those a look if you'd like to try as well. Number 4 coming up, another European destination is Portugal. Actually, it's Spain's neighbor, right? On the coast near Lisbon, there are a lot of beaches, and on the south in the Algarve, if you've not seen pictures of the Algarve, I highly recommend it. Lots of rock sculptures and lots of nice beaches that I really enjoyed when I was there. So Portugal has an accessible beach program called Beach for All, in Portuguese of course, but I'm not going to try to pronounce the Portuguese. So it's called Beach for All, treating beach accessibility as a fundamental right for everyone. The beaches that have become certified by the program have a designated flag that they fly around that lets everyone know that they have things like continuous pedestrian walkways all the way to the water, which means you can get all the way, accessible restrooms. They also have amphibious wheelchairs they can rent to you. They're actually able to enter the water. So that's super cool. The 5th out of 5 countries that I'm featuring in this list is another European destination, and that's Greece, especially the Greek islands, Crete, Rhodes, have a lot of nice accessible beaches. So the thing that sets Greece apart from these others is, of course, all these will have accessible parking and accessible restrooms and things like that, but what sets Greece apart from these other countries is they have a system called C-Track, and this is a solar-powered system that allows anyone with mobility issues, not only wheelchair-bound, not only people with walkers, but even the elderly who might feel a little bit more uncertain or a little bit slow. It allows these people to enter the water on their own without needing anyone else. And that's all because of the solar powered system. So that's really, really cool. The system so far has been applied to about 150 or 200 of the beaches in Greece, but they are on the move to increase this. They want to have it in at least 300 beaches in the near future. That's a lot of beaches to go to. So those were my 5 top countries for accessible beaches. I didn't want to go one by one calling out beaches individually because most of these countries have many, many beaches you could go to, and I don't want you to think you have to target one specifically. But while we're on this topic, I have an honorable mention that I'd like to call out, one that I've been to and I enjoyed, but unfortunately right now it's in a difficult place to travel to given geopolitics. The beaches of Tel Aviv, Israel are spectacular. I went there in 2019 and it had been all modernized, lots of beach pathways and walkways and free loungers, free public showers, and it was all very nice and new. At that time, I hadn't used any of the accessibility options there, but I can only imagine that if they have that for everyone who is able-bodied, imagine everything they might have to meet your accessible needs. So it's really nice, and I got my fingers crossed that someday I'll be back. I hope this video showed you that mobility challenges don't have to mean giving up your beach vacations. With the right destinations and with a little bit of planning, the beach can still be yours to enjoy. If you've visited an accessible beach that you love, I'd love to hear about it in the comments, so put it down there. Also, down in the description box, I have a link that you can click on to book a call with me if you would like to talk about and learn more about what your accessibility options are, whether you're going to a beach, a city, or elsewhere. I'd be honored to help you plan your own accessible getaway at any time. Next week, we're going to talk about more rural types of accessible travel and the best options for that. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more accessible travel tips, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye now.